Hello, my little unicorns. It's St. Patrick's Day, or actually by the time this video hits, it'll be the day after St. Patrick's Day. So I thought I would do my makeup and talk about St. Patrick, tell you my take on his story. So if you're interested in my storytelling skills or you just want to see what I'm doing for St. Patrick's Day, keep watching. Okay, so I'm going to talk about St. Patrick today. You know, what is the story behind the holiday, or what's the story about the man behind the holiday? I will be occasionally referring down to my notes, and if you want to know what products I'm using on my face, I'll list them in the description because it's not a tutorial today, it's story time with Mickey. So we're going to start, I've already done my foundation and my eyebrows. We're going to start with the contour, and I'm going to talk a little bit about St. Patrick. So St. Patrick, he was born in England in the 400 ADs. He was right around the end of the Roman control of England. So the way it works is the Romans, they were all over the place, right? They were everywhere, taking over countries, but they were bringing enlightenment and Christianity and education and all kinds of really cool tools. So a lot of these countries didn't really mind. Plus they were protecting them from barbaric invaders, Britain especially. So they liked the Romans. But the Romans, because they were spreading themselves so thin, left themselves vulnerable back home in Italy. So Rome was at risk. So the Romans were like, we can't be taking care of your people anymore. Deuces, we out. And they left Britain vulnerable to barbaric attacks. Now this is around the same time that Patrick's growing up. Now Patrick's father is a British Romano senator and tax collector, and his grandfather's a deacon in the church. So Patrick grew up in a very Christian family, but he will admit in his book Confessions that when he was younger he wasn't much of a believer and didn't follow Christianity until much later in life. So let's fast forward. You know, Patrick's growing up in Roman-ruled Britain, and then the Romans take off, and it's just kind of a free-for-all, people getting attacked left and right. But just before his 16th birthday, Patrick's family decides that they and some of their workers are going to go take a holiday over in the villa on the coast. And they're having fun, and Patrick's birthday's coming up, and he's going to be 16 soon, so it's a milestone birthday. Patrick's loving life, you know, just lounging by the sea, until during this holiday, Irish pirates, you heard me correctly, Irish pirates come in and invade and pillage and do all the things that pirates do at this villa by the sea. Now Patrick's family, they got out okay, man. They survived it all. But not so lucky Patrick, no. Patrick and a few of the workers, they were abducted, kidnapped by the Irish pirates, loaded on a boat, set sail for Ireland. Off they go. So once they get to Ireland, Patrick, he gets sold into slavery. Yeah, I know. He's English, and he's a slave. Okay? So, following along, he actually gets bought by a Druid tribal chieftain, so a leader in the Druid religion. Heading off to the farm. The Druid chief takes him off to his farm where he makes him a herdsman in charge of his flock of sheep. That's what he's doing. So saith the shepherd, so saith the flock. So he's doing this, you know, his life is, he's oppressed, he's taking care of sheep, he's not a happy camper, and he starts to really research his sins and develop, you know, to kind of give himself over to prayer. And it's during the next 6 years that he fully converts to Christianity. He truly embraces the faith that he was raised in, and he becomes full-on Christian. Let's fast forward 6 years. So he's now been captive for 6 years. He's herding these sheep and under the Druid chief's rule, living out on the farm in the boondocks in Ireland, and taking care of sheep and who knows what else. All right, so after about 6 years, he starts to hear voices. Okay. To be fair, he starts to hear just one voice. But still, I mean, it's kind of weird, you know, when you think about it. There are these prophets and these saints hearing voices all over the place in the early ADs, and nobody batted an eye. They're like, oh, he hears voices, he must be talking to God. And nowadays you hear voices and they put you in a padded cell and label you schizophrenic, taking your happy ass up to Bellevue. I mean, I'm just saying, it seems like people in the early ADs, man, they were a little more gullible than we are, but, you know, that's just my opinion on the matter. What do you think? Put it in the comments. Tell me what you think. All right, so anyway, he starts hearing this voice, right? And this voice is telling him, like, dude, I know you're a slave, you're downtrodden, it sucks, but man, don't sweat it. Don't worry about it, because it's not going to be very long before you're going home. It's happening. And he hears his voice a few times telling him this, and then shortly after, you know, weeks, months, it doesn't really, my source didn't say, but weeks, months later, he hears the voice again saying, dude, it's time, your ship is ready. It's time to run, man. Take it and run. So what does he do? He flees his captor. He runs to the sea. And this is no small feat, by the way. The sea is 200 miles away. And it's not like in the 400 ADs you can just hitch a ride with the nearest trucker. No. Most, if not all of this trek was done on foot. So trying to escape his captor was risky enough. He risked his life to do that. But now he's got to travel 200 miles to the ocean, to the sea, so he can get home to Britain. No small feat. I'm like, man, I don't even want to do 2 miles on the treadmill. I can't imagine 200 miles. Fuck no. So 200 miles later, he makes it out to the sea, and with his keen powers of persuasion, I mean, I don't know. He doesn't have any money. He's a slave. He made it all the way from, you know, the central Ireland to the coast. But now he convinces the ship's captain to take him back to Britain. Look, I've been kidnapped, whatever he says. He convinces him. And the captain says yes. He does it. He persuades him. Off to Britain. And they all lived happily ever after the end. Now you should know me better than that. Come on. You think it's going to be that easy? No, it's not going to be that easy. Of course, it's not so simple. Now, the journey to Ireland, or from Ireland to England, only takes about 3 days before he presumably lands in Ireland, in Britain. However, that's not the end of the journey. He's still got to make it from the coast to where his family is. That's 28 more days away. I'm going to cut here because this story is going a lot faster than my makeup, so I'm going to catch up, and I'll be back in a minute. Stay tuned for the end. Alright, so I've jumped ahead a little bit. Let's catch you up. I got 3 shades of green from the Mikayla Paht Two palette. I got the Bro color, rocking as my transition, then Cody James, and then I got the Dreams inside, and I'm doing a halo look, so we're going to pick up from here. So that's it, you know, we're just going to keep it green. It's green. Alright, so anyway, picking up where I left off. Where were we talking? We were talking about how he's now kidnapped, he's taken off to Ireland, he's become a slave to this druid tribal chief, and he's working there as a shepherd for about 6 years when he starts hearing voices telling him, run, okay? So that catches you up. So he persuades this captain to take him back to Britain, 28 days through the wilderness, back to his family after they land in England. Now, in his book, The Declaration, Patrick will tell you that he nearly starved to death. He and all of the captain and all of the captain's men who went on this journey with him nearly starved to death. And suddenly he started praying for sustenance. And like magic, they appear on this herd of wild boar. And it's good eats, man. The captain and the men kill a pig or two. Life is good. And the captain and his men, they're convinced, man, the power of prayer, that's it. The power of Christ compels us. And they convert right there on the spot. Okay, well, maybe not right there on the spot. First, they sacrifice a pig or two and eat their flesh. Then they convert to Christianity pretty quickly. So Patrick, he makes his way finally back home with the help of the captain and the captain's men. And, you know, life is good. He's reunited with his family. His family's really happy to see him. You know, he's devoted his life to Christianity now, and he's doing Christian Science studies. He is, you know, devoted and happy, and life is good, right? No. Patrick gets a little restless, you know. He starts having these visions. So he's hearing a voice and having visions. Just saying. But he's having these visions about this dude, this cat named Victoricus. Victoricus. And Victoricus is kind of like, you know, a like early mailman. Because in these visions, he's carrying letters. And he gives Patrick a letter. And as Patrick starts to read it, the heading of the letter is the voice of the Irish. And I swear to God, it's like magic. All of a sudden, Patrick goes from hearing one voice to like hundreds of Irish-speaking, you know, voices. They all sound like Lucky from the Lucky Charms commercials, and they're all saying, and I quote, "We appeal to you, holy servant boy, to come and walk among us." That's it. That's it. He's got to go back. Now, of course, he doesn't go immediately back. No, he's not ready yet. He's got to finish up his studies. He's still learning. So he goes to Europe, and he's finishing his Christian studies for a good long time, and then eventually he actually gets ordained into the priesthood, and that's when he decides to go back and save all of friggin' Ireland. So, you know, now he's hearing voices and visions. You know, he wants to go back. So he returns to Ireland as a Christian missionary. And he's going to help all the people that he hears in his voices, in his head, to help them debunk their long-standing ancient faith and become Christians. Hallelujah. All right. Now, don't get me started on Patrick's family. Like, Patrick's family, they think he's bonkers. Like, dude, you were a slave in this country for years. They mistreated you. They abused you. They made fun of you. They denounced your faith. You barely made it out alive and made yourself, you know, and found your way back home. And now you're going to go back there again and try to save these heathens? You're nuts. And I can't say that I blame them. I mean, they're thinking he's pretty fucking ape shit, you know? And quite frankly, he's hearing voices and seeing visions and wants to go back to the country that nearly killed him. I don't think his family's too far off here, do you? I mean, Bellevue, just saying. Just saying. Okay, now I admit I didn't go digging too deep when I did my research on St. Patrick, and I can't tell you how long he was actually in Ireland, and I mean, as far as I know, he probably died there. I'm not really sure. I Wikipedia'd this, so this is the best I can come up with Wikipedia. All right, but what I did learn is that, you know, while he was there, man, he did some shit in Ireland. Like, he did. He was converting people to Christianity, baptizing folks, heathens left and right. He was ordaining priests, you know, spreading the word. He was doing the Lord's good work. He did some shit in Ireland. He was a busy little Christian beaver. But he wasn't very popular. The problem is that, you know, it's a Druid country. It's a pagan country. And he's coming in spreading the word of Christianity, man. It's not popular. And, you know, we've all heard about how St. Patrick drove the snakes out of Ireland. But there's only one small catch. There are no snakes in Ireland. Now, I know. You could be sitting there saying to yourself, well, duh, Mickey, there's no snakes in Ireland because Patrick drove them all out. But I mean, like, there have never been snakes in Ireland. There's no proof that there was ever snakes in Ireland. They just ain't got them. No snakes there. So a lot of historians and scholars believe that the driving snakes out of Ireland, St. Patrick, the story, was actually a metaphor. We all know that it was overrun with druids and pagans, and that the snake symbolizes the devil and Satan. And so a lot of people think that that was a metaphor for, you know, for Patrick driving out evil out of Ireland. And he was doing some shit on that end too. Like, denouncing heathen druids as heretics, and he was, you know, stripping priests of their priesthood because they were taking slaves, and, you know, just pretty much any non-Christians were chastised for worshiping false idols. Again, Patrick, he was kind of judgy. You know, no lie, man. He was a little judgy. But like I said, scholars believe that Patrick pushing the snakes out of Ireland is an analogy for him ridding Ireland of evil. So Patrick does a lot of Christian stuff, then dies. I don't know, guys. Like I said, I did my research with Wikipedia. It's not all that in-depth. It doesn't really talk about when he dies. However, he croaks, okay? So he dies, and he becomes a saint. They canonize him. He becomes a saint, and St. Patrick's Day is born on the date of his presumed death. And it starts off as a day of reverence and feasting and appreciation for him bringing Christianity to Ireland and ridding Ireland of evil. It's you know, a very sacred day. Alright, so I overline my lip. I did my eyeliner, my lashes off camera, and overline my lips with a brown lip eyeliner as my lip liner. And just to catch you up on Patrick, we left off with him dropping dead, and then the Catholics canonizing him and making him a saint years after. We talked about how there's no snakes in Ireland. No snakes. And why clovers? Well, it was believed that Patrick used the clover as an analogy for the Holy Trinity to explain to the pagans in terms they could relate to. They were very connected to the earth. Pagans and druids in particular were very connected to the earth. Everything was very cyclical. I can never say that word. Circle. Like a cycle. You know, the circle of life. Heart Elton John. I may cut all that out. Then again, maybe not. But anyway, that's how clovers came to be into St. Patrick's Day. And after a while, though, it became less about the reverence and St. Patrick himself and began to represent all things Irish. I'm using an orange lipstick, by the way. All things Irish and Ireland itself. Hence the introduction of Erin go Bragh. There we go. And yeah, so there we have it. Anyway, I hope you really enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun just talking about St. Patrick. I hope that you were entertained. If you want to know what I used, the products are listed below. I just did kind of my homage to the Irish flag and talked about St. Patrick. I hope you had a wonderful St. Patrick's Day. I hope that you had a lot of Irish whiskey and box tea and corned beef and cabbage, but no green beer. I hope you didn't have any green beer. No true Irish person would ever drink green beer. That's gross. If you have to have Irish beer, have Guinness or Murphy's Irish Stout, but no green beer. Anyway, please don't forget that I am holding that 100 subscribers, $100 gift card to Sephora contest. Please tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your mother, tell your grandmother. Help me get there. I'm really trying to grow the channel. Please hit the like button. Please leave a comment. It really helps me a lot. I encourage you to subscribe. I hope you like what you see. Tell me what you want to see. I really want to hear from you. I'm trying out different things. I'm trying to see what fits. I might do a conglomeration of all these ideas. I just don't want to do straight tutorials anymore. I think that's kind of dull, don't you? Tell me what you like. You know, if you like straight tutorials, I'm good at that. You know, I can talk about what I'm using on my face. I have no problem with that. But if you want to hear something else from me, let me know. Alright, in the meantime, thank you so much for hanging out. Hope you had a wonderful St. Patrick's Day. Stay magical, unicorns. Love you. Bye.